Hi, this is Michael William Denny of the ThunderWizard.com YouTube channel. So today, I want to talk to you about the 5 rules that you need to know in order to master the Matrix. If you understand these 5 rules, not only will you be able to master this computer program, which we call the Matrix that we live in, but you will never want to leave. You will have so much fun. Anyway, so let's get right into it. So the first rule of the Matrix is that you need to remember that you programmed the Matrix. You have chosen to be here. Your soul is infinite. It is not limited. You have not been created by any deity. You created yourself. There is nothing out there that has the power to control you, manipulate you, or victimize you unless you allow it. That's the first thing you have to remember. You created this Matrix. When you remember that, you will begin to wake up within the dream. It's what I call waking up within the dream. When you wake up within the dream, then this life becomes like living a lucid dream that you have control over. Okay? So that's the first rule, is that you created the Matrix. Now, when you created the Matrix, your soul was in, call it heaven, wherever you want. Your soul was in infinity. And your soul was aware that it was completely infinite and it was completely omnipotent. But it still wanted to learn and grow. So it created this Matrix, which we call human life. It took its infinity and it narrowed itself down and limited itself to this 3-dimensional physical meat bag, which we call a body. And within this meat bag, now this is how we interface with the 3 dimensions of the Matrix. Okay? Now, you created your story. Now, just like a video game, you pick an avatar, right? And you give your avatar a name, and you pick the shaman, or you pick the warrior, or you pick the elf, or whatever it is. So you picked whatever your avatar is. And you also picked all of the characters and the circumstances in your video game. So that means everybody that you interact with, they're characters that you wrote and put into the game, including me. Okay? And so that means that every major circumstance that you go through, positive or negative, is something that you've chosen. So it's either something that you specifically wrote into the storyline, or you wrote in potential outcomes for different actions. It's like if you open this door, it goes down a whole nother thing. So you give yourself little choices, but you've written all the potential outcomes of all the different actions that you've taken. So that's the first thing. That's the first rule. You wrote the game and everything in it. The game is designed to respond positively to actions taken from bravery, from fearlessness. Okay? That means every single time that you take an action or you take a risk in your life towards something that you want, and it's frightening for you, every time that you do that, every time you act against your fear and you do something that you're afraid to do, the game is designed to respond positively to that. And that means you get the power-ups, you get the special keys, you find the maps, opportunities and circumstances, and new characters come into your game. So it responds positively every time that you take actions based in fearlessness. Now, conversely, this is extremely important to understand. Most people have missed this, and this is why most people feel like victims, is that the game is also designed to respond negatively every time that you take actions or you adopt beliefs based in fear. That is why I hammer on people. I'm sorry if you think I'm attacking you. I'm not. But when people believe that they're victims, I hammer away at that. You are not a victim. There is nothing that's happened in your life that you yourself either haven't designed or that you have allowed to happen. The game is designed that way. You designed it that way because your soul wants to learn and it wants to grow. And this video game that your soul is in is a game that the main thing that it's teaching you is to take actions based in fearlessness. So when you take actions or you adopt belief systems out of fear, you're going to get a negative response from it. This goes into rule number 4. Now this is also extremely important. And if you understand this rule, this 4th rule, you will master the game. This is where most people get stuck. And that is this. When you take actions repeatedly, when you repeatedly take actions, especially if you take the same actions based in fear over and over and over again, this sends out a message to the game, and the game automatically responds by creating a virus. This virus creates self-perpetuating negative loops, self-perpetuating loops based in fear. What it means is that if you take continuous action based on fear, then what happens is it gets extremely hard to get out of that. That means that people who are trapped in fear, who believe that they're victims, will continue to seek out people, institutions, situations which will reinforce their fear-based ideas and keep them trapped. And so people who have this virus, the virus grows and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And on the extreme levels, this virus becomes insanity. This is all that insanity is. If somebody is insane, it means that they have taken actions based in fear over and over and over and over again, and the virus grows and grows and grows and grows, and it creates its own little mini matrix within the matrix, and you get stuck in it. This is what insanity is. Okay? So that means that if you're one of those people, and I've been in that place, so I know exactly what this feels like. If you're one of those people and you're trapped in one of these created loops of fear, that means that every time that you take an action based in fearlessness, you're going to bump into severe resistance. Your mind is going to throw up all kinds of red flags and all kinds of fears and confusion. It's going to be very difficult to get out of it. But the way that the game is built is that it's designed to hammer into you the destructiveness of fear-based beliefs and fear-based actions. So some people never get out of that loop in one lifetime. You know, after they leave, what the soul does is it goes back up and it goes, wow, I got stuck in one of those fear loops. I didn't make it out. And so what happens is you create the matrix again, and sometimes you make it more difficult because, listen, we respond just as well to negative reinforcement as positive reinforcement. But this is how the game is designed. The game is designed so that you get so sick and tired of the negative reinforced actions that you don't do it anymore. And trust me, once you've pulled yourself out of one of those fear virus loops, you never want to go back. And you learn the lesson. You stop taking yourself so seriously. You stop taking this life. People who talk about how victimized they are and how this life is a prison and, oh my gosh, you take yourself so seriously. Listen, it's easy for me to say because I've gotten out of that. I'm not in that loop anymore. Okay, so that's number 4. Repeated actions based in fear create these self-perpetuating fear virus loops. Very difficult to get out of, but if you keep taking action based in fearlessness, regardless of the resistance that comes up in you, you eventually get out of that. And then once you're out, you never have to go back. Okay? All right. So rule number 5. The point of the matrix, the point of the game, is for you to learn the difference between your true desires, the desires of the soul, what I call your soul desires, and your false desires. These are desires based in fear. These are desires created by the reptilian brainstem. Now, the reptilian brainstem is a feature of the game. You know, like all games have little traps in it. The reptilian brainstem is a trap of the game. And by the way, all the reptilians that exist in the world who lord over you and control you, they only exist here. That means that you're in a little maze, trapped in, and if you look at the reptilian brainstem, it looks like a maze. You're trapped in the maze. And within those mazes is the reptilians, okay? So if you get out of that maze, you never have to deal with the reptilians ever again. All right, so when you understand the difference between your true desires and your false desires, then you start to have fun. Now, this is called mastery of the game. Once you master the game, you don't want to leave. Somebody had asked me, in the previous video, if you know the rules to exit the game, why haven't you exited? Because I'm having too much fun. If you remember, by the way, if you watch the movie, The Matrix, Neo doesn't exit the Matrix. He stays in there because it's too much fun. When you master the game, it's too much fun. You don't want to leave. And I'm in that place right now. Now, this is the great thing about knowing the true desires from the false desires. False desires are, pretty typical. Most people have them. Money, fame, power. Some people ask this question, why is it more difficult? Why are some people born into more difficult circumstances than others? Well, the first one is they chose to be in that because they have an advanced soul. And if you have an advanced soul, that when you come out of the game and you go back up into, infinity, you go, man, that was fun. I want to gain more power. And so to gain more power, you make the game more difficult. The people who have it so easy, look at so-and-so, he has it so easy. I know I've suffered from that. I'm just going to give you an example. I mean, I could give you a bunch of examples, but I'm just going to give you one. Kanye West. That guy has everything anybody could want. He has money, he has fame, he has success, he has the hot model wife. I'm sure he could get any woman that he wants. And where is he right now as I make this video? He put himself into an insane asylum. He's locked up because he's crazy. He's miserable. And he's miserable because he is, number one, I think he's a new soul to this plane. And he thought that if he came down and he had all the stuff that he would be happy. So he's learning the lesson. Trust me, next time around, when he comes back, he's going to make it a little more difficult on himself because he realizes that's not the way to happiness. So negative reinforcement has its place. All the difficulty that you go through is based on giving you the negative reinforcement because, once you touch that hot stove and you burn your finger, you don't touch that hot stove again. Okay? So, anyway, these are the 5 rules of the Matrix and how to master it. Now, I want to respond to some very legitimate responses to my previous video, which is that everything that we've experienced in life, we've chosen. And people would say, why in the world would somebody choose to be abused or raped or killed or tortured? It's a really good question. The reason that people choose to do that is because, like I said, these are advanced souls who either have made mistakes in previous lives, that they've gone down the path of false desires, and they really want to learn the lesson. And the way, like for instance, let's say in a past life you were abusive to others. You took the easy way out and you thought that power was going to give you happiness. So you created yourself king of the world or whatever it was, and then you got lost in that. You got deceived in that false desire. And as I said, it's self-perpetuating. You get in a self-perpetuating loop. You became abusive and you were hurtful to others. Well, when you're in infinity, you sit there and you go, wow, man, that was not fun. But I'm afraid that if I don't give myself some difficult, challenging life, I may do it again. So I want to go back and I want to know what it was like. That's why people do it. Somebody mentioned children. Now, again, if you're saying that there's a difference between children and adults, then you're not understanding the basic premise, which is that your soul is infinite. And every soul has chosen to be a child at some point. And they choose the people and they choose the scenarios. Okay? So, look, here's just the practical thing about difficulty in life. And it's up to you. I know it's difficult to comprehend how could my soul possibly choose to be in such a difficult, horrific, painful situation? Well, the first thing is, from the soul's perspective, it's a video game. It's just like when we go and watch a movie and we see horrible things, or we watch horror movies or whatever, we know that it's not real. If we were to see that in real life, it would be a totally different experience. But when we look at it from the objectivity of sitting and, then we know it's not real. That's what it's like for the soul. When we go and we create these video games that have things that we think are just unbearably horrible, it's not that way for the soul. The soul doesn't see it that way. So that's why if you see somebody who's living in horrific circumstances like the children in Aleppo, my heart goes out to them. But what I see is I see very advanced souls who've chosen to go through difficult scenarios because they really are brave and they really want to learn to empower themselves. That's why you will get a lot of powerful stuff in this game if you help people like that. People who, like children who need help, if you help them out, you're going to get all kinds of positive things because those are advanced souls that are making their way through this game. All right? And the danger is just the same for them. They could get trapped in fear-based loops and all that. So for anybody who's recovering from any kind of abuse, again, you guys don't know anything about me or my past. So I'm not minimizing what anybody's gone through. Anybody listening to me that's gone through difficult, painful stuff, you are an advanced soul. And the way out of that is to honor that and to say, yes, I chose this because I wanted to learn. What am I here to learn with this? What did I choose? What lesson did I want to teach myself? Because if you don't adopt that attitude, you're in danger of getting in one of those fear loops. And then you'll be one of those people who are victimized for the rest of their lives. So there's a practical aspect to this, which is, why would you want to live in a universe where there's an omnipotent God or these evil archons or all whatever who have the power to manipulate you, to suck the life out of you? Why would you choose to live in that universe? I don't want to live in that universe. And listen, I could go into my life now and what my life used to be like. I don't have time in this video. I'm going to talk more about that. But listen, my life, if you were to look at my life, I rent a tiny little one-bedroom house. And now I love it. It's very quiet and very private. Little tiny one-bedroom house. My only income comes from making these videos and from the books that I write and from, a few people that I counsel with privately. Every month I'm barely making, but you know what? I've just accepted that. And as long as I don't get flipped out about it, I have such freedom. I'm 53 years old. And I have the body of a 25-year-old Olympic athlete. I'm not on any medications. I don't have any health issues. A lot of people my age are on all kinds of medications. They got all kinds of problems. And they have all the money in the world, a lot of them. But they're miserable, some of them. So this is what I mean. When you master the game and you understand and you know how to play this game, the freedom and the joy that you experience is boundless. And by the way, that's the point of the game. When you master the game, you live in perpetual joy. Doesn't mean you don't have issues or challenges. That's part of the game. But you have this continuing joy throughout your life. Anyway, that's it for now. I could go on and on and on. I will. There will be more videos about this, but that's it for now. If you like this video, if you like this channel, you can support the channel. If you don't see this, scroll below where it says support this channel. Subscribe, like, tell your friends about it. And listen, look at the other videos that I have on this channel. Do the meditations and the energy practices that I teach, and you can begin to grow on this path. If you want personalized attention, you can become an apprentice, or you can have a private session with me and I can teach you how to do this stuff. Anyway, so that's it for now, my friends. Until next time, may the Matrix be your servant.